The outside world is watching the eco-village network very closely. And now I'm speaking quite broadly, politicians, the United Nations, even the corporate world. You know, there's a lot of interest in broader society for what the eco-village network is currently doing. There's a longing, because they do see that, you know, in this process of walking our talk for a few decades now, you know, even though Gen was only born in 1995, but he was born to make visible a movement that was already long underway. What Gen does is in the first step, make visible what is there. Especially now we've been invited, for instance, by the German government to do a project in North Africa and all these countries where there's been great upheaval. And the first step is to make visible what is there. And it's always amazing. Like, you think there's nothing, you think there's a desert, there's just a tyrannical regime and nothing happening on the ground. And then you go in and you find all these people doing fantastic work in their communities, having peace projects, having projects for environmental justice, building strong communities. So that we reach out to these grassroots leaders, these grassroots projects. And suddenly you have a totally different image. You have a totally different landscape emerging from a country. The eco-villages have become nodes of inspiration in a much broader field that is wanting to transition. So it's at the moment, it's more about every village needing to become an eco-village, every city needing to become a sustainable city, and not about creating new intentional eco-villages. And it's not really us doing it. It's a network that's alive through relationships and longing. So there's young people longing for purpose, longing for meaning, searching it in their educational possibilities, in the normal way of life, not finding it, and reaching out for different solutions and linking up to the network and bringing the eco-village idea to new countries, new places. It may be new water systems, it may be permaculture training, it can be solar energy, it can be many, many different aspects that are really useful for implementing climate change adaptation, community stabilization in the South. So those three levels, like making visible, having education conferences for awareness raising and exchange, and then the third level of actual on-the-ground implementation. And we need fundraising for all three. We are a network of people on the ground, and we know each other. People know the other people that are doing the work on the ground. So it spreads quite fast, and the information that came back was amazing. It was totally overwhelming. We couldn't handle the emails. So we have decided to start by setting up a project database which the projects can actually enroll in online. And on a more concrete level, we have run eco-village design educations in Europe that we've invited people to come to. Also, there has always been a strong connection with Senegal. So we reconnected with the Senegalese network and the incredible work that is happening in Senegal at the moment with the government supporting the transition of 14,000 traditional villages to eco-villages. We have places where we have lowered our ecological footprint. And especially in the framework of climate change at the moment, where Africa is suffering most of what we have created in the north and the west, yeah, and also South America. But you know, it's the south that is suffering most at the moment. That the anger is rightfully there, especially with governments in the north speaking a lot and doing very little. So in that whole framework, to then meet the eco-village network, which are people that are willing to change their lifestyles, to lower their impact, to lower their footprint, builds bridges in a very special way. And the more people do this, and the more people do a holistic attitude on a local level, but then linking up, we can actually change whole realities, we can change whole societies. Just see all the beautiful projects happening on the ground, and suddenly where before there was no hope, suddenly there is hope.